everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Kathy with More Fun with Felt. Today we're going to be felting this adorable little buddy. I have three different variations. You'll see the ears are a little bit different on each one. And then also the feet are just a little bit different on each one. So I was experimenting. I found my favorite ears and my favorite feet, but I will show you all as we get to each of them. And what you'll need for this project today is some core wool. This is from Serafina Fiber Arts. You'll need a top coat color, and then you'll need a black. For all three of the color variations, you'll need a white. This is Winter White from Living Felt. And then you'll also need a pink for the nose. If you'd like, you can also use a skin tone for the nose as well. That's what I used on this little girl. All right, let's get started. So the first thing that you need to do is take your core wool, and this is a pretty long pull of roving. I would say probably it's about 2 to 2.5 feet that I pulled off. Start just by doing a pretty loose knot in the center, because this first part does not have to be felted super strong. We're going to make a 3" by 3" ball. So I'm just doing 2 loose knots, and then I'm going to just expand my roving a little bit to make it a little more flat and go around. Then I'm going to take this one and go the opposite way. And again, take my 38 and just tack it down. This is a clover pen tool. It has 2 40 triangles in it. So I'm just going to take this and felt all the way around. Just keep turning and felting until I shape my 3" by 3" ball. Okay, when you have it pretty felted down to where you have your shape of the ball, it's still going to be very squeezable. It does not have to be felted hard. I'm going to go ahead and measure again. Much better. I'm super happy with that. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is make the neck. So you're going to take your roving again, this time about 8 inches, and we're just going to fold this in thirds, so from the bottom to the middle, from the top to the middle. And you can take your 38 and just sort of make a circle shape on the wool. Then you fold the corners into the circle shape. This one's a little bit smaller. Then just sort of stab all the way through the center, and you want to keep one side thicker than the other. See which is naturally thicker than the other, and then just keep felting on the thin side. Into a circle, but right now this is the shape that we're looking for, so we just want one side to be flatter than the other side. This side is a little bit thicker. So you're going to take your ball, just place it right on the top, so it's going to look like this, and then take your 38 again and just tack it down, and while you're tacking, make it into a circle shape. Then you can take your clover pen tool with the 2 fine needles and just go back around and continue tacking. Alright, so this gives us the height in the back and the flat area here, so that when we put our head on, there is going to be a little neck, and he'll be looking straight, but maybe a little tilted down. So this is just going to give us a little bit of an angle on his head. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is to make the head. You're going to get another 10-inch piece. And you can roll a cylinder. So that is about 3 inches right now. I'm going to go ahead and take my clover pen tool and I'm just going to start stabbing it. Make sure you poke from the outside of the cylinder in just to secure that so your wool doesn't spread out past your 3 inches. You can roll it in your hands just to help get the roundness. Okay, so that's about 3 inches by about 1.5 inches. You're going to take this and you're going to secure it. We're going to do it just even with our 3-inch ball. So you'll have a little overhang here and a little overhang here. And tack it down. Okay, so once you have that pretty tacked down, you're just going to take another little piece, like just a small slither, and we're going to go around that neck just for further security, making sure it won't fall off. Just go down into the neck and up into the head. Take the other half and just do the other side. Okay, right now it looks like a big hot mess, and that's okay. Alright, the next thing that we're going to do is make 2 cheeks. So we're going to do about 8 inches each. You want to make sure they are the same size and do a loose roll. This one is not tight at all, but you do want it to be a little bit thick this way. So not little roll, just go straight up naturally. And allow the ends to sort of sprawl out. Okay, I'm just going to hold that one down with a needle and do this one. Alright. So next, we're going to take these make sure that you're on the front. Make sure that it fits from the front of the head to the back, which it does. Okay, so we're going to just fold this little edge over and tack that down, and then I'm going to take that edge, go right in the center of the head, so you're going to find that center line right here. Above the neck, I'm going to start tacking that down. So the bottom of this needs to be right above the neck. Right on that center line. And then take the top of this and pull it down. Need a little bit stronger needle. Grab my other 38. This is creating that cute little cheeky muzzle that you see on all these guys. Doesn't have to be perfect at this point, it just has to be tacked down. And then you're going to pull it to the back This one does not have to be folded, and you can just tack it down here. Okay, so right now you have this huge cheek, and that's okay. That's what we want. The cheeks make them cute. Okay, so we're going to take the end of this one, figure out the best way to fold it over, create your line, and then take that line that you just created and go right up to the other one. You don't want to overlap here. Tack it down. Pull this to the back and tack it down. Okay, now you can just go over both of them from the bottom up and the top into the head. You don't want to felt too much through the center here because we really want that air right now. We may take some out later. That gives us our cute factor, so we don't want to get rid of it right now. Okay, so this is what we're creating. Okay, so next we're going to do a triangle for the top of the head. And again, you're going to do about 10 inches on this one. This is going to be the three-way fold like we did on the neck. So you're going to fold to the center from the bottom up, and then to the center from the top down. Expand it out a little bit. Take your 38, create a triangle, but not really sharp. We don't want a super fine point on the end of the triangle. We want kind of a blunt edge. So I kind of leave it blunt right here. Create a triangle down. On the top of the triangle, we're just going to have rounded edges. So we have a round top coming down in the shape of a triangle, but a blunt edge here. This is going to be where our nose is. So fold those extra pieces up, felt in. This is creating a natural place for our nose to go. Fold those down, felt them in. You can felt a little bit through the triangle, but not a lot. Pull it off the mat. And go ahead and take your bunny. Let's do it with the side that was down on the mat, so not the folded side, the other side. Always making sure you're on the front. So you're going to take that. You should see a little folded, like almost making itself a nose. And with that corner flap, you're going to go into the head. So just take the bottom of that little corner flap, go into the head, and then just start going all the way around this triangle into the head. Now here, I am not poking into the cheeks, I'm poking into the head, right past these cheeks. Okay? From here, you're going to fold it up at the bottom, and you're going to give it some height. If you feel like it's not going to be big enough, we need a pretty big slope here. So if you feel at this point like it's not going to be big enough, you can take another piece of core wool, just make a really little simple pillow by folding it over a couple of times, and just shove it down in there underneath that triangle. That's going to give you your height that you want. Okay? So I'm just going to take that edge that we already felted, tack it into the back of the head right above the cheeks. And just keep doing that all the way around. Okay, so now I have a really good height. I'm real happy with that height. You want it to sort of slope up towards the back and then have a drop off. That's the height you're looking for. I still have my cheeks. We're gonna have to keep forming those as we go. I have a spot for my nose. So we're doing really good. So now what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna start adding some color. So go ahead and get your top coat. Pull off a sliver. This is probably around 6 to 8 inches. Yeah, 8 inches. I'm going to go ahead and just lay it flat. Just fold those ends in and felt them into that blunt triangle shape that we had. This will just make it easier to attach. You don't have to worry about the back of it. This just gives us our little blunt triangle, so it's going to match. And you're going to put it right over where you had your nose spot. Hold it down with your finger. And felt that in, right over your nose. Make sure that's felted pretty well. Then you're going to take the rest of this and just lay it over, go to the back. And this is going to be your eye socket. So we're going to want it to come not on the eye. Let me show you on this one. So we are going to have another piece here. So this is going to kind of sort of be behind that piece. So it's going to lay above the eye socket, but not right over the eye. So it's naturally going to, if you have roving that's thick like this, or wide like this I should say, it's naturally going to kind of go where it needs to be. But if it's not looking like that description, just scoot it over a little bit or make it wider. You can always add more if you need to. So we're just going to felt that into the head, into the triangle. And then come to the other side and make sure it's in the same place. Felt that down. Okay. Now that I know it's in the right place, I can take my 2 fine needles, the 40s, in my clover pen tool and just gently go over it. I don't want to decrease a lot of the height, but I do need to shape it. So I'm going to go in from the side. That'll create height here. Into the front, going down to the angle where the nose needs to be. And then just taking a look at it, making sure I do still have that same curve that I want, and just using the needles to help me get there. Just felt all the way down to the back, and you can just keep going right down the back. Right over the neck and onto the back. When you get to the very back of these cheeks, just pull the wool off of them and felt around them. Don't felt into your cheeks. Okay. Now we're going to take another piece. And again, this is about 8 to 9 inches. Now I am going to start to do the back, so I'm going to lay it actually over the back, hold that down, and we're going to work to the front. When you get to the front, you want to figure out how big of a belly that you want. Alright, so what I generally do is I just take this. I like big bellies on my rabbits, and so I just take this and I fold it down. And then I'm going to just make a natural semicircle and felt that in. All the way up to the bottom of the cheek, over the neck. And then do the same on the other side. And then you're going to take a little piece, probably 2 by 2, and fold that little end over so you have a nice edge. Come to the bottom of the belly, and then just we're covering up this bottom part. Okay, so that's covered up enough for now. Your bunny should be looking just about like this right now. It's still a little rough, but we're about to continue covering. So go ahead and get your white. First, I'm going to go ahead and cover the belly and then the eyes. So I'm just going to pull off a piece that I think is big enough for the belly. Go ahead and set it over, and you can take your 38, and then we're going to take the edge, fold it up, and make it just match where the gray is. Okay. Now you can just go all the way across the belly with your 38, just making sure that it's adhering. I have a little extra here. I'm going to go ahead and just pull this off. This is not necessary at this moment, and we can use this for the eyes. So I'm just going to set it aside, kind of tuck this right underneath that chin, those little cheeks, and just felt this down. If you need to go up into the bottom of those cheeks, you can with just that little bit that's left, or you could tuck it under as well. Okay, so this little bit that you had extra, or if you don't have any extra and you didn't pull anything off, you can just grab a little bit more. Go ahead and place it right in this eye socket. And take your 38, start poking right above that chubby cheek all the way to the front of the eye, this whole eye area, and then follow it up to the very top. This is going to make our black eye really stand out. Just go ahead and make sure that right where the eye is going to go, you sort of poke out a little area, because we are going to set this in pretty deeply here. Okay, so now I have my cheeks, and my eye sockets. The eye sockets should all be covered in white. So now we're going to put that aside, find our black. So this is about a 6 by 2 inch sliver. Let's see how big we can get this. You roll up and in on itself, up and in on itself. Fold it over. And from the back side, just start stabbing it into shape. So let's try it on for size. So what we're going to do is stick it right down with the smoothest side out, right into that eye socket. That looks pretty good. I'm not going to felt it in yet because I want to make sure my other one's exactly the same size or as close to it as I can get. Okay, now they're just about the same size. So I'm going to go ahead and fit them inside. I feel like that looks pretty good. And have them in the right spot. So just, you want to make sure, looking at them, that they're even from above, side to side, and straight ahead. So once you do that, and I know that they're even, I'm going to go ahead and hold this down, and I'm just going to felt right through the ball into the head and down. Turn it over and do the same thing. Okay. All right, our eyes are in. Now you're just going to take a little pinch of wool and then divide that in half. Try to keep them as equal as you can. And then you're going to divide each one in half again. Roll it. I just like to put it in my palm, roll it with my other palm, and you're going to take this and you're going to place it below the eye. Get your 40 or 42 if you have it. You're going to stab that below the eye, not into the cheek, but actually into the head. And then on these pieces on the end, you're going to go ahead and work them towards the back of the eye. Not touching the outside white, but almost there. And then in the front, you're going to bring this into this little side corner in the front. Okay, take the other piece, do the same thing, but we're going to do it on the top. All right, so same thing, you're going to go ahead and set it right above the eye, up against the white. Take your 40, go into the white that you felted on there. Get it around the eye first, and then this little piece, have it touch the other piece and then go out. And basically we're just trying to sort of make a little tear duct or triangle right here. And then on this one, you're gonna bring it down, pull it back out on top of the other one that you just put in, and sort of merge those two together, almost like eyeliner. If you don't like the shape of it, you can take your stronger needle and just push it the direction you want it to go. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, now they have eyeliner on both sides, and that eye is looking really, really pretty. Alright, so now we're going to take a little bit more of the white. Now again, this is the winter white now, not the core wool. You can definitely see the difference. And we want two pieces about the same size. So this is definitely thicker. I'm going to pull some off of that. Okay. So all we're going to do is we're going to take them and we're going to turn them horizontally and then fold them over. And I'm going to take my clover pen with the two fine needles, and I'm just going to create like a little folded edge and felt down, making like a seam underneath it. You can leave these edges fuzzy and this all fuzzy. You just want to make a fold here. I'm going to do that on both sides, both of these. These are going to be our eyelids. Okay, I want to just hold them up and compare. Yeah, that looks really good. So, you're going to take this and you want the folded edge to go above the eye. Now this is where you can get either your little attitude or your bunny to look mad or happy. Little angry rabbit, I would bring my eyelid down sort of at an angle like this, right? But I don't. I want him to be happy. So I'm going to put a little bit of the eyelid here. I'm going to kind of raise it and then bring it down in the back. Let's see if we can make him a little bit happy. I'm just going to bring all that down. And check to see how it's sitting, and then just start tucking in right up against that gray. And I'm just going to let this come down and just naturally go to the back of his head. You could stop it right there if you don't want to do that, but I love the fact that bunnies have all different markings, and every time I do one, I do it just a little bit different so that they all have their own personality. Yeah, so he looks super sweet. Nice round low eyelid. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on this side. This one I did not have enough to get around to the back, so I'm just going to put a little bit here just to match that. Okay. Still looks a little bit like an alien because we don't have a nose and our cheeks aren't done yet. So now you're going to take a little bit more white. You want to get maybe a 4-inch by 2-inch piece, and that's with all the fluff. Make sure they're the same. And we are going to just lay this over our cheeks. Come up to the front where our line is. I'm going to take my 38, fold this under a little, and try to get right on that line. You can just felt into the nose area here just to hold it all down. And then pull it back to the back. I'm not pulling tight, I want that fluff. So I'm going to pull it to the back, get to the back of the head, and I'm just going to start felting it in. If it helps you to fold it over, fold it over. I always find that's easier than trying to make a straight line with the needle. Now I'm going into the body and into the head, not into the cheek. I'm just taking the bottom of the cheek and going. It's really not the body, it's the neck and the head. Okay, if you don't like where that landed, just pull it right off. Tuck it under. The great thing about felting, you have some time to fix things. I'm just going to pull it down so I can see where I am. I'm just felting into the core wool. Don't be afraid to move it around and manipulate it so it'll work for you. Okay. So that cheek is now covered. I'm going to take this clover pen with the fine needles and just sort of go around that. It's just feeling a little fuzzy to me. I want to make a dip here in the top of the cheek so I can see my eye. Go up a little bit more on this eyebrow. Now I'm just shaping and molding the cheeks. And take the other one, do the exact same thing. Okay, so I'm going to take a look and see what needs fixing. I just need this one to level out like that one. So, pen with the fine needles. Going all the way around it again. Down, go under that eye. Okay. Pretty good. We're getting there. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to do is go ahead and continue on with the white. They're going to make this tuft in the front of his belly. So you just pick up a piece when holding it up, kind of just covers the belly and a little bit bigger. So I just want to make sure it's gonna cover the belly and kind of come up underneath the cheeks a little. And then right where the cheeks are, I'm gonna flip it over. So I have it like this. I'm holding where the cheeks are so I can feel the bottoms of the cheeks. With my thumbs and fingers, I'm just gonna take it and flip it right in the same spot over his head. Then I'm gonna take my needle and right where my thumbs were, under the cheeks, stab down. Only on the white. I don't want to cover any of my gray. Okay, now I'm going to pull this back down, and this gives me a nice fat tummy tuft. So I'm just going to spread it out over the white part, tuck it from the bottom. It's easier to start on the bottom. Just tuck it to get up to that line, tuck it under, and then start felting that around your gray, just right up to the gray. Okay. Now, once it's all sort of tacked in all the way around, you can come from the bottom, go up, and that will make his tummy even fatter. So I'm just, hey, he's looking so cute. So I think let's go ahead and finish the face, and I am gonna find my pink. You are going to want, this is probably 1 inch by 3 inches. And we're going to do the same thing that we did earlier. We're going to fold the bottom to the middle and the top down to the middle. Okay? And then I'm just going to sort of take my fingers and my thumb, pinch it and fold it over one more time halfway. Just halfway, so that this is now 1.5 inches by 1. So 1.5 inches this way by 1. Okay, we're going to do the same thing that we did before, and we're going to use our needle and make a triangle. And this time I'm going to take it, flip it over, and I'm going to fold that needled edge to the back and very gently sort of tack that on the back. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Just going to take my needled edge, fold it up, when I'm doing this, I'm trying not to go all the way through it. Just keep folding it over to the back. It's going to give me a big, fat, fluffy nose here. Take your rabbit and pop the nose in place. Take your finer needle and just start felting that in along the edges. All the way around. Okay, and then follow up with the 38, just making sure that you tack those edges in nice and secure. Once you get it kind of the same, the size and shape that you want, you can sort of felt it down. Just rounding it and shaping it the way you want it. This one's got a little button nose. I'm going to take my fine and come back. Okay. So now we have part of the nose. You can see, I'll show you on this one. There's a little gap right here naturally, okay? And you have some options. You can cover it with the color of the bunny, the main color of the bunny, or you could do a white in here and bring that up and blend. Or you can bring another color in, like maybe do a black right there. So I think what I'm actually going to do on this one is I'm going to go ahead and take a little white and a little black, and I'm going to blend those two together. And I'm just going to lay it right on the bunny and I'll shape it there. So I'm going to lay it down and then turn it up. So my finger's going to go into that crevice, and then I'm just going to turn it up and lay it flat on the forehead. And then felt it right over the nose and to the side of the eyebrow, the eyelid there. Same thing on this side. You can felt down into the nose. And use your needle just to pull it where you need it to go. You don't want to felt this too hard because you don't want to create another crevice. This is just filling in a gap, so you're felting very softly. And at the same time using it to bring another color into the fold here. Okay. Then you can take the darker of those two colors. So this would be the black in this case. Lay it right across the nose. And just sort of felt it from the top of the nose up to the bridge that we just created. And then do the same thing with the white. Lay it right over it. Now, if you were doing it all the same color, you wouldn't have to worry about all the blending, but sometimes I like to blend. And then I'll use these same colors that we just blended on his ears and maybe on the tips of his feet to tie it all together. And you can just sort of take a look and see if you like how it's looking. You want to make sure it's looking blended. So if you need to pull it with your needle a little. And add just a little more white right across the bridge here. just on the top, and then I'm going to fan it out just to make that blend seamless. I didn't like how it was looking like a line there. So if there's something you don't like, you can always just keep changing it until you get it the way you want it. Okay, much better, much better. Okay, now we're going to take some black, just a thin line. Break that. First thing I'm going to do is put it up under the nose. Take my fine needle and I'm just going to tuck that right up under the nose. Then take my 38, tuck it in a little bit more so you don't see quite so much of it. This is also defining your nose area. And take the other piece that you had left and pull that. We just need a thin, thin little piece. Roll it out again. Not liking, I have a big bump in there. Okay. Then you're going to come down under the nose on the line that we created between the cheeks. And you're just going to felt that right down in there. And when you get to the bottom of the line, you can go ahead and come out right up the cheek and over to make a smile. So I'm not going down to the neck, I'm still on the cheek here. And then again, just sort of put this right on that center. And follow it right up. Make the other side of the smile. Looking better, looking better. Okay, now we're going to do the white part of the eyes. So what I like to do is I actually like to make them first, because getting two whites of the eyes exactly the same and in the same place is very, very difficult. These are big eyes, so we need big whites. I'm going to go ahead and start shaping it on my mat just by felting it a little, folding it over, shaping it, rolling it, now I can roll it in my hand to make it a ball. You don't want it to be a perfect ball. Whites are really never perfect. They're not perfectly round. Okay, so that's a pretty good size, kind of oblong-ish. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, pretty good, pretty good. So now what you want to do is you want to decide where you want the whites of the eyes to go. So you want to try to put them on the same place on each side. Okay, so you can actually hold it up and see how it's going to look if I put it down on the bottom, or if I put them up in the corners. So I really think I like that. Right down on the bottom, he's kind of looking off to the side. I'm going to hold them both down, and I'm going to put my needle through one, and then I'm going to use my other needle with my thumb still holding it just to tack it in. Okay. Then take your needle out of that one. Make sure that you're still good with that location, which I am. Use your needle to tack it in. Now that it's tacked in pretty well, I'm just going to take my fine needle and just go over it. Okay, ooh, a little cockeyed. So if you find out that, you know, after you do that, it is a little cockeyed, or you don't quite like the placement, you can always take your fingers and actually move the eyeball a little bit. So you can twist it and move it and then felt it into place if you don't like it. Okay. So now let me just show you how I get the eyelashes. So this is a Master's Touch Fine Art Studio alcohol marker. It's black. It has a fine tip on it. I got this at Hobby Lobby. And I'm just going to come in on the back very gently and just put like 3 or 4 little eyelashes going from the eye to the back. So I got my eyelashes, and then I do the same thing on the freckles. You can do any random pattern of freckles that you want. Now he is looking super chubby and super cute. So let's work on the ears. So for my ears on this one, I'm going to pull them back like this. But again, like I said, you can do them straight up and down. These are shorter. These are a little bit longer. They're medium length. And they are going to the side. This one, they're laying back. I'm going to do this style. It's actually a little bit of a longer ear. And to do that, super easy. I'm just going to take my bunny and I'm going to measure how far down I want the ear to go. So if I tack it right here, I'm going to want my ear to come about here. If I was doing the opposite, if I wanted it standing up, I would do it there. So just however long you want your ear. Okay, and then I'm going to pull that off. And I might be able to actually do 2 ears out of this. Let me see. If your roving's really thick, you could probably do 2 ears out of it. I'm just going to split that in half. If it's not, then just grab 2 of the same length and do this. This part's really simple. Basically what we're going to do is we're just going to take our tool and we're going to make the tip of the ear, fold it up, fold the end in, fold the other side up, and then we're just going to do that all the way around the edge. We're just going to take that seam, or yeah, I guess it would be a seam, and you're going to just fold it in on itself just to get a folded edge. Once you have that, just go over it. Okay, so now this is a really good time to bring a tool in, like your punch tool. You want to go ahead and just make sure that it's pretty firm all the way down. So I'm just going to go ahead on the back side and just start punching. And I'm punching through the middle, not so much on the sides at this point, because I am going to add some white, and then I'll go back over the sides with my other needle. Lifting it off the mat, turning it over, punch this side. Okay, so I am going to put some white right down the center. You could choose to do pink. You could do the skin tone that I did on the little white rabbit. Whatever you like. I just feel like white would be really good on this one. And we did add a little bit of black to the nose, so I'm going to just throw a little black up around the tip of this. If it falls off the sides, that's okay, because when I turn it over, I'll go ahead and felt it onto the sides. So I'm just going to punch again. Lift it off the mat. Turn it over. Punch one more time back here. Okay, so now I'm just going to take the black that came off the sides and I'm just going to fold it over the back. Didn't really get a lot up there, so I think I'll add a little more. If you wanted, if you want something a little bit more and it just doesn't do what you want it to do, just add what you want until you get it right. I'm going to go down the edges, come in from the side on the edges. Make it so you can see. And I think I'll put a little bit of white over this black, just like we did on the nose. Now I'll go over the edges as well. Okay. So, bunny ear is almost complete. I'm just going to take my clover pen with the fine needles one more time, just sort of finish up those edges. I kind of just want them a little bit rounded. They're already felted, but I just want them a little bit rounded. Leaving all of this on the end, the fringe, so we can attach it. Okay, so this is where you can decide, do you want a really sharp tip on the end of the bunny ear? I did a kind of a point here. This is not so much of a point here. It is a point, but it's a little more rounded. So you just decide what you want. If you want to do a point, I'll just do it on this one. You fold it over and you just felt it into that point. If you want it a little bit more rounded, just leave it the way that it was. Perfectly fine. So there's my tip. And then we are going to take this ear right behind the eye. So I'm going to want it to kind of fall like this down the bunny. So I'm just going to fold the top, or excuse me, the fringe part. I would say this would be the top, so this should be the bottom of the ear. So I'm going to fold that fringe part. I'm going to lay it down right behind. So here's the eyeball itself right here, ends right here. That's exactly where I'm going to attach it. Just hold it with your finger. You want that fold to come towards you. And I'm just going to go ahead and felt that in. I want all this fringe to just blend. I'm felting very softly because I don't want to make a dent on the inside of the head. I don't want to dent the head, because then I have to build that back up. Okay, so I very, very softly did that. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my 40 and I'm going to go just back over that. You can see just with that soft felting, it is already making a little bit of an impression. Once we put the other ear on, that should level out. Okay, so now the ear is laying here, you know, laying down facing out, which is the way I want it. I like to just take this little section right here and just felt that to the back of his head. That way the ear's going the direction that I want. And then it still looks loose, like it's just hanging, but it's hanging the direction that I want it to hang. He is looking super cute. Okay, so I'm going to finish the other ear off camera. Okay, so now I have both ears on. He's looking super, super cute. What a cutie patootie. This is when they really start to come to life, when you get the ears and the eyes and the face on. So when I was off camera putting the ear on, I also realized that as I was felting the eyes in, I lost a little of the black that I had been looking for the eyeliner and also the eyelashes. So I want to show you what I did really quickly off camera. I fixed this eye. And I'm just going to come back over. If you feel like you lost some of your black, you can just take a little bit and lay it back in there. Turn it so I can see. So my eyelashes went way deep inside, so you can lay it back in there. Just take a fine needle. This is the 40. And just put a little bit more where we had it before. Same exact places. You also could, if you haven't started your bunny yet and you're just watching the tutorial, you also could do this part just after. When you get the face done, you could add the black later. But it doesn't normally get lost in there, but I just think I have an awful lot of cheek today. My eyebrows were a little bit large. Each bunny is different. So as you just see things that might not be right to you, just go ahead and correct them. So another thing that I did, I added the black, so I just did that for you. And another thing I did on this side is I just felted this down a little bit more so that I could define my eyelashes. So I'm just going to do that on this side just to make them match. Just going to felt this down a little bit more and try to get my eyelashes back in there. That's probably the most important part. It's what makes these little guys so cute. So we want to make sure that that is seen. Checking to make sure it matches. I'm just going to get this part a little bit harder. I'm just felting very softly. I'm not like stabbing like crazy. Just gently, the tip of the needle is going in. Okay. So have my alcohol pen again, and I'm just going to go ahead and add those eyelashes back in. So if something like that happens, it's so easy just to make corrections. Make sure they match on both sides. This time I did 5. I think before I did 4. So there you go. Much better, much better. You're looking super cute. Oops. Okay. So the last thing, we're almost there, is the feet. So I just want to show you the difference on all 3 of these that we did. So this was my very first one, and you can see I have a little, it's not really a thigh, it's just the upper arm really, because this is the front foot. And I did that little chunky there, and then I did the flat feet. So the back foot was just a little flap, super easy to make, and this was a little flap attached to this. I wasn't super happy with that, and so then I did this one, and this is just a wrap of a cylinder. Oops, there you go. It's a wrap of a cylinder, and then I bent it, and then I just put white over the tip. I did that one. I like that, but I still wasn't super happy with this part. So on my third bunny, I did that all the same size. So I wrapped on the, actually on the Zuli tool from Serafina Fiber Arts. Wrapped it on the Zuli tool, and then I bent it, and then the back foot is thick as well. So that's what we're going to do on this little guy right here. He just went flying off the mat. Okay, so this is the Zuli tool from Serafina Fiber Arts. You do not have to use this. You can use a large dowel, like a dowel the size of a wooden spoon. You could use a wooden spoon. You could use a paintbrush. Anything you have. You don't have to go and buy this tool. I'm going to go ahead and make his legs gray, and then I'll put a white tip. I'm going to get, this is about 6 inches with the fluff on the ends. And I'm going to split that in half. This is going to be for the front feet. Draw it out. Just hold it in one hand and sort of pull it, not hard. I don't want to separate it. I just want to stretch it out a little bit naturally. Okay, and then I'm going to take the Zuli tool or whatever you have there, hold it with one finger. I'm going to pull. It's called dragging. Wrap. Put my finger back on it. Pull. Wrap, and I'm going to go up. Now I am pulling very, very tight. I don't know if you can see it, but it's very, very taut right there. So now I'm just going to keep wrapping. going up. Oops. Okay, when I get to the end of what I'm holding, I need to come back and I'm going to just wrap it right around that, and my hands are very tight on this wool, and I'm turning it. I'm just going to put my hands around it, and then I'm going to hold this down, take a needle, and I'm going to tack this down. Just don't want this to go anywhere. Try not to hit the wood underneath, because it will break your needle and damage your tool. All right. So I'm going to get the next piece, drag it out, and I'm going to repeat. This time I'm going to try to go a little further and then come back. Okay. So basically the main point here is we want this tight. If it's really loose on you, just start over. It's okay. Just do it until you can get it tight. This is one of the hardest parts of felting, is the wrapping. All right, so I have that on felted, and I'm pulling it off the skewer, and then I'm going to take my clover pen with the fine needles, and I'm just going to felt this end down into itself. See how tight it is? It's not unraveling on me. That's how you want it to be. Okay, now I'm going to hold this end so it does not unravel, and I'm just going to go down, not all the way through to the mat, just down the leg. As I do this, it's starting to widen up a little, which is good. You don't want it super skinny. I'm going to turn it and just keep doing that all the way down. Don't let go of this end here. Okay. Just going to size it up. All right, so now what I want is the tip of his foot to be white. So I'm just going to grab some white and wrap that around and just work it into the foot. And I'm going to want this to sort of come to the front of him. Okay. Now I'm just kind of looking at it to see what I'm really wanting. I might add a little more white and maybe some black to the end of this foot, just to match the ears and the nose. So I'm just going to take a little black. You can do whatever you want here. This is just artist interpretation, right? I just like to put markings on the bunnies, little subtle things that people wouldn't think of, but when they see it, it makes it look a little bit more. Now, these are not going to look real, but makes it look a little more real. I'm going to wrap a little more right here. Right before that white. Okay. Now, I'm going to get the front foot where I want it to sit, which is going to be kind of in the front, like he's kind of doing this. I'm going to put this right up against his belly and then move it back. So the leg is going to go up against the belly and the shoulder is going to come backwards. So that's the positioning that I want. I'm going to tack it in. Everywhere that I want it. Sit them down and make sure it's sitting the way I want. So that is good. And then I'm going to take a little more of the gray, roll a pillow, put that right over that shoulder area, tack that down. We don't want any skinny bunnies around here. Chubby bunnies are super cute. Okay, and then right here on this join line, I like to just take a piece, put it right behind that, and I'm going right up to the bottom of this leg where it hits the belly, onto the leg. This is making the leg look thicker than it actually is. And coming up right around the shoulder. You're just going to blend all that in. And I would like a little more up here, so you just have to, at this point, sort of gauge where you are and what you want. I want him to be a little chubbier right here. Just want that shoulder to sort of be as chubby as that cheek. Okay. So right now I've got a pretty good beginning of a front leg here. We may come back and just fix that up. Next, we're going to wrap the back foot. So I'm going to pull, this is about a 4-inch piece. Split that in half. This will be just enough. The half of it will be enough for one foot, one back foot. Drag it out. Anything extra like that, just pull off and throw to the side. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. I'm just going to wrap. This time it's going to be shorter, but still stay tight. So I went up about 2 to 3 times, and I'm going to start coming back. Okay, then you pull that off. I like to just flatten it out with my fingers. And then just like we did on the other one, I'm going to round off that front of the foot. Hold that end down and do the top. Not all the way through to the mat. Flip it over, do the other side. Okay, and then on this one, I am going to go ahead and stay consistent with the marking. So I'm just going to wrap a little bit of black around the edge here. It doesn't matter where it falls, like it's halfway on and halfway off. That's okay, because in the real world, markings would be markings, and they're not going to be perfect. And then I'll top that off with a little white, just like everywhere else. Okay, and we're going to take this baby and see where we want this to be. And see, now I'm looking at that and I feel like it's not thick enough compared to my big fat bunny. So I'm actually going to add some more. So this is where you need to just make those decisions, like, okay, that's not enough. If you see that it's not fat enough, just add more. Not a big deal. Hold it up to him now. Oh, much better. See how that's much better? So let me just go ahead and add my black and my white again. Felting is very forgiving, so if something's not right, just redo it. Can't even tell you how many times I've ripped stuff off and redone it to get it the way I want it to be. Okay, so now we're going to take this. We're going to see where it looks cutest. So I kind of like a little angle out. Flip him over. Take your 38 and put that into the bottom of him. With the 38, so you want it to be nice and firm. Take a little bit of your gray, and then I'm going to take my clover pen tool and just felt that into the bottom, just securing it all. Okay, so now we have this cute little foot. I want a little bit more of a bend here, so I'm just going to felt that down into a bend. And then I'm going to put a little bit more right here. I just want that arm to be a little thicker. And then make a defining line so you can tell that it's an arm. Okay. This one's not quite as attached as I would like it to be. Don't be afraid to felt up through the bottom of the foot and into the body. Okay, much better. All right, so I have this half done. I'm going to go ahead and do the other half, the other two legs, front leg and the back foot, and then I will be back to do the tail, and then we will be done. All right, welcome back. So I have finished the other front leg and the back foot. So what I want to do is turn the bunny over, because now it looks a little silly down here on the bottom. And I'm just going to take a little patch of the gray and just lay it right over all those join marks, and just felt that right over. So it just looks a little more natural. Okay, next, the tail. So this is pretty simple. All we're going to do is just take another chunk of our white. You are probably going to do, this is probably 3 by 2, 3 inches by 2 inches. And I'm just going to fold it into a circle. That is it. Just felt the back of it, and just sort of pull it up into a circle, felting through the back. It's going to look a little like that, and then we are just going to come right to the back behind where the ears come down. And I take my clover pen with the fine needles, and I'm just going to go around the edge of that tail and felt it into a circle. And then once you get that secured, then you can go through the center, probably about maybe 10 to 15 times, going all the way into the bunny, just to make sure it's not going to fall off. And then you have a really cute little bunny tail. And the back ears look so cute over the tail. And that is our finished bunny. The only thing that I did off camera is I did connect these 2 feet together. So I just did that by turning it over and taking the 38 and going from one foot into the other foot, just so that they stay together. Just like that. Now you can just take a quick look at your bunny and see, is he the way that you want him to be? If you want to adjust anything at all, you can just fine tune, go over and smooth things out if you feel like you need to. But at this point, it's done. You have an adorable Sweet little bunny. I do hope that you guys make these, and if you can post them, I'd love if you posted them on my Facebook page, which is More Fun with Felt, and just let me see what you made. Would really love that. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. This is brand new for me, so I am trying really hard to get that going. And the next video that I'm going to be working on actually is how to make these beautiful cabochon eyes. I made them for my dragon, and I will be showing the dragon in that tutorial, as well as how to make these. It's so simple, you will not even believe it. So that's going to be my next video. Like and subscribe. Go to my Facebook page, More Fun with Felt, and follow me there if you don't mind. That would be so awesome. And then I also do have a Shopify, so if you wanted to buy any of these bunnies or any of my other felts, feel free to go there. It's www.morefunwithfelt.com. Thank you so much, and I really enjoyed doing this tutorial for you and hope to see you soon.